called the observation blocker. So what is the point of this monstrosity? So it'll block off drones and any type of intel gathering, like an ionic clone, whatever. You won't be able to see through this wall that it makes, but you will be able to see through it with your eyes. Attackers will be able to see through it with their eyes as well, but when they're on cameras, it'll be a big wall, a big digital wall in front of them that they won't be able to see through. So you can kind of see the digital wall there, but it's going to be a lot like they cannot see through it at all. Bullets will still go through it, everything like that, no problem, but it will block. So what's the point of these? So you're gonna get 3 at a time when you have them. So like where I'm at right now on Clubhouse, what I like to do is I'll place one there, and then I'll place another one here. And if they ever try to drone rafters, if we have like a zombie or whatever up here, they're gonna come down, they're gonna drone up, and they're gonna see just massive walls all over the place, and it's gonna be really hard for them to pin down anybody down in rafters. They're not really gonna be able to tell unless they peek their head through the door, and you know, I'm just gonna be here waiting for them to do that thing. So drones are able to drive through this, no problem, and once they get through it, obviously they're gonna be able to see normally. But if you pair that with a mute jammer, let's say you place a mute jammer here, obviously you can't drive through. So observation blockers paired with mute jammers are going to be key if you want to really keep the intel out. Blockers. So let's say you're downstairs on Oregon, and you know, I just run over here, I place an observation blocker like so. Attackers are able to shoot these very easily, so placing them out of line of sight from the attackers is going to be key. And they're not going to be able to drone. They're going to be able to drone by, and unless they cross this little threshold, they're not going to be able to find anything else unless they shoot an observation blocker. So I can place one there. I can place, let's say, another one like right here. They can't drone that. They can't drone that. Then I'll place another one, let's say, for the freezer walk-up, like in the middle, because I don't care if they shoot this one. That tells you that they're there, but they won't be able to find any intel on if anybody's in freezer or not. When they come up, they're not going to be able to tell unless, you know, they drive a drone past. So I can like sit in a corner like this and kind of wait for them, and they're not going to be able to tell whatsoever. These are really versatile, and you are going to have 3 every time that you bring them, so you can just place them. Like I'd place one like maybe like right here for that door. You want to place them in a spot where they're not going to get shot instantly, but it is going to, like, you know, when an attacker does something like this, because you guys will see this a lot in almost every either, someone's going to drone in, they're going to look for a freebie, and they're going to come around the corner and pre-fire. With the observation blocker, that freebie might not be there because they can't see it. So you might save a teammate or it might save you. Head up on bank basement. So here, place one, let's say like so, right in the middle. Boom. They're not going to be able to really drone anything in this room. All they're going to see is just a digital wall. Let's say we want to hold server a little bit. I can place one like, oh, here's a good spot for one. I could go like this. Boom. And do one like this. Boom. And then hell, I can even put an ADS here. They're not going to know about the ADS or anything. So like they're going to drone in and they're just going to see just walls all over the place. So they're going to feel very unsafe coming into this room. But if they do get past that point, even there's still another one over here that your teammates can use their advantage to, you know, take out the guys in the server. So really easy way to hold with just one operator's setup, just Jaeger. The observation blockers on several different operators, like I think Maestro and like Alibi. A couple different operators are going to have the, access to the observation blockers, but yeah, Jaeger is going to be my try and true op when I think about observation blockers, because he does bring the blockers as well as extra utility that you can hide behind it. Again, pairing it up with the mute jammer is really strong, because let's say I do the observation blocker, I place a mute jammer right there. They're going to have a wall they can't see through with their drones, and they can't even drive the drones through the observation blocker because they get muted off. So now let's talk about some of the things I've seen people do with observation blockers, for good or for bad, or some glitches. Let's get to it. Kronk R6S on Twitter. So here you place 10 observation blockers back to back, and it makes a bulletproof wall where you're not able to shoot through the observation blockers. This is clearly a glitch that's probably going to be patched in the near future, but it is kind of interesting to see like how the game interacts with this. So you can shoot as much as you want. No bullets are going to go through whatsoever at all, but you are able to shoot the blockers, and I'm assuming if you only have 9 or less, that bullets will start to go through. So it's not really a versatile thing to really bring in a real way, because you do need 4 operators that have observation blockers to make the line, and that is a lot of utility that could have been like, you know, barbed wire, shields, or nitros. So still kind of interesting note of that though, and it's not patched yet from what I know. And let's go through this little thing really quick. So here, let's talk about it. This is Cafe on Heaven, right? So you have this little blind spot where people could stand. So as an attacker, you can't drone this corner because you'll never know if that corner is actually clear with the drone, because you're not going to be able to drone through this at all. And if you try to dive your drone in, it hits the mute jammer. So you're never going to know. So you have to shoot a bullet at this to figure out if anything's behind that. Or you can try to go for the observation blocker, but if there is someone behind it and you're shooting the observation blocker, the person there is going to shoot you. So you're basically taking a 50-50 with utility in a way. You don't really, in my eyes, you don't really need the alibi clone there. As long as you have the observation blocker and the mute jammer, you have a little blind spot where a defender could potentially stand. So this is kind of interesting because there's a lot of different situations in Siege where you can just find a corner like this, you observation block and mute jammer, and like the attacker is never going to know if someone is behind that with their drone intel unless they use a grenade or some type of explosive utility, or they have to physically peek it and shoot the observation blocker, or, you know, check the corner with their face. And when attackers do that more often, chances are that gives you a lot more of an opportunity to rip their head off. So kind of a good for the defender. Should you run observation blockers? Yes, I think that you should. They're a good, useful tool compared to some of the other utility. And there's certain situations like Clubhouse where they can't necessarily get to them. But running them over, let's say, impacts or nitros, I probably wouldn't do most of the time. Like, let's say I was like going an operator like Maestro, you can have observation blockers or impacts. Most of the time, I'm going to choose impacts. And if it has a nitro, obviously I'm going to choose a nitro. But if it's between like a shield, barbed wire, and an observation blocker or something non-explosive, then I might have room for the observation blocker, because it can provide a little bit of annoyance to attackers, because it is a new thing that people aren't accustomed to having to already deal with. And any type of variability you throw in is going to catch people off guard, and you're going to get the jump on them. So should you run them? Overall, yes, but I wouldn't try to run like 6, 9, or 10 of them to just like, you know, hey, well, let's make a bulletproof shield, because that's going to get patched 1 and 2 is really not that hard to deal with in the first place. But if I go Jaeger, am I going to bring a bulletproof cam or observation blockers? I mean, most of the time now, because he got his barbed wire taken away, most of the time in ranked, I'm bringing an observation blocker, because bulletproof cam is nice, but that's only 1 camera. Observation blocker denies three entry points of their cameras. And, you know, bulletproof cam is nice as well. In certain situations, I will bring that, but like Clubhouse, like on the Raptors, again, like most of the time I'm going to bring an observation blocker, or like on Cafe or Oregon, let's say. So, hey, I mean, all right, guys. Let me know what you feel about observation blockers. Are they OP, broken, or just downright useless? Let me know down below in the comments. Make sure to subscribe and drop a comment. Leave a like down below for more. Until next time, hey.